Hey, so I know I've been away for a while, and that's basically because I haven't really been having a working laptop for the past couple weeks. So that's kind of important for making videos. I thought I'd just make an extra long video today. I might even have to put it into two parts. I know I already have a video out. This basically tells my CIDP story in like a lot more condensed version. So I wanted to just let you guys know my CIDP story in a lot more details. I'm going to try to not leave anything out. So I'll just get right into it, I guess. So before CIDP, I was on the cross country and track and field teams at my school, and I was getting ready for indoor track. I was probably running between 50 to 60 miles a week. Then a couple workouts, a couple of easy runs, long runs, like a day off, like once every 2 weeks or something like that. And then I would probably like lift weights like twice a week. Nothing like real heavy because I'm a runner, so you don't want to be heavy if you're a runner. But yeah, so I just got a cold. It was like late October, and I got over it by November 1st of 2011. And I know the date because I was supposed to keep a running log. So I was writing everything down. I was writing down when I was eating. I was writing down my resting heart rate in the morning, how many hours of sleep I was getting, and so it was really weird that like I didn't change like any eating habits. I didn't change any sleeping habits, but like my heart rate slowly started going up. I started with like a resting heart rate in the morning before I get out of bed of like 48, and then it was like 50 and 52, and it was a couple weeks. It just kept going up after I got over the cold, because I would feel fine like during the day. Like walking to classes and stuff. But then like once I would go to practice, like the first 15 minutes I would feel fine. And then after those 15 minutes though, then that's when I would like start to just like feel really tired like all the time. Or like one specific run, it was only like a 6 mile run, and it was supposed to be pretty easy. The first 15 minutes, like I said, was normal. And then like the rest of it, I was just like so tired, and I just felt so heavy and sluggish like the whole time. I was like, even like my arms were like hard to control. Like I was just like, they're like flopping all over the place just because I was like so tired, and like I kept like veering sort of off the road because I was just like, because roads like they're a little bit slanted, so it was hard to just run in a straight line. I kept like falling, like kept sort of like going off the road, and then I have to get back on and sort of going like veering off the road. And then I just like flopped in a chair when I was done. My friends were like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "I don't think so." So like we knew something was going wrong, and like so when something like that happens for a runner, like they think, oh, it's probably anemia, it's probably some sort of vitamin deficiency. So I got a bunch of blood tests done at school, and they called me the next day actually, and they said you're really healthy, there's nothing to worry about, nothing's wrong. So I mean that's always good to hear, but it sucks when you don't know what's going wrong, and like your running is just going really slowly. And after a couple of weeks of just running really slowly, I had a time trial. It was only 800 meters. And if you asked my coach, he would have been like, yeah, I think Craig can run a 159. And then I thought I could too a couple weeks before. And then leading up to it, like a couple of days before, I was like, I don't think I could even break 220, which is like what I was running when I was 13 years old. And here I was like a 19-year-old runner running like 60 miles a week. Like you're not supposed to run like 220 or something like when you're training that much. So like I just like drastically, that's a lot of time to add on from 159 to a 221. That's really slow, and it was embarrassing basically, like to run that time like in front of all my teammates after like running that much, and it was like really depressing. But yeah, so then it was about that time that like my hands and my toes and stuff were like getting sort of like numb and tingly, and it was in the fall. So I just thought, it's because I'm living in the cross country house with a bunch of guys who don't really want to pay the heating bill. Like I'd go to bed one time, it was like 48 degrees or something in the house. Like I could like see my breath, and it was like I like went to bed with like gloves and jeans on. So I was just like trying to save money. I was like, oh, it's I just numb and tingly from it being cold and stuff all the time. And like even when I would go to class, my fingers were still a little bit tingly in my toes, which I was like, I guess it's just lingering effects. Because like normally when you get numb, tingly sensations when you're 19 years old, you don't assume it's an autoimmune disease. So that wasn't my first thought. So yeah, I just kept going to class, and after the 221 time trial, I talked to my coach, like, I think I might just like take some time off, because like I was just running, and like every time I run I'd just be miserable, because I was just like, I felt so heavy and so weak and so out of breath. It wasn't worth it, like, to go for a run and just feel dead 15 minutes into it. And just I wasn't getting out of running what I was putting into it. So I just wanted to like take a break, and I went home. I got like another blood test that came up with nothing. I got a chest X-ray, we're checking like for asthma, nothing. Did like a urine sample for just whatever, I don't even know. We checked for mono. That's another thing runners check for a lot of time when they aren't really doing that well. So we thought it was like that, or like a vitamin deficiency of some kind. And then like the numb tingly sensations like were getting worse, and I was getting weaker. Actually, before I came home, I remember I was squatting in the weight room, and I was squatting as much as the girls on the team next to me. So I just added 2.5 pound plates on each side, so I was squatting more than the girls. So yeah, like I got home, we did a bunch of tests, they all came back negative. And then so I went to a neurologist, and then we were telling him my symptoms, and I told him basically that, like, when heat makes it worse, and when I get out of the shower, I feel like a lot weaker and stuff like that. And then he told me that's basically like a telltale sign of MS. And so then I got an MRI, and that came up with nothing. So I was really happy I didn't have MS, but it still sucks. You don't know what's going on. And then I got a nerve conduction test, and I think it was an electromyograph or electromyogram, one of those things. I got one of those too. They stick the needle in your leg, and then also the one where they just shock different parts of your legs. Not that fun, but not excruciating. But so I got that done, and then he said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you have Guillain-Barré syndrome." But and then he explained it to me. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Like it's not that bad, I guess, because like if you have Guillain-Barré syndrome." He said it was a very mild case for me, because I was still walking up and down stairs just fine, just really slowly and weakly, but I could still do it. And he's like, I guess you have like the most mild case I've ever seen. And I was like, wow, that's great. Maybe I'll just have to take a little bit of time off of running, and then hopefully by next season I should be good. And so he's like, let's just take a spinal tap, and we'll check like your protein levels and stuff that you have in your spinal fluid. So I got that. I think that was like the next week or something like that. And that was not very fun. But yeah, then the test results came back, and he said, yeah, you have Guillain-Barré syndrome. But I couldn't go back to school because my spinal cord hadn't healed right away. So I had to be bedridden for a week with spinal headaches. And if you don't know what those are, you can just Google them. I'm not going to get into them. It's a lot to talk about. But yeah, so like the first week of school, I was bedridden. I couldn't come to class or anything. So if I lifted my head up, I would get like a pounding headache and just feel like throwing up. And that's not really conducive to going to class. So yeah, so I couldn't go to class the first week, and that's a lot to make up, even in just like the first week of school. And then on top of that, we were thinking, if I have Guillain-Barré syndrome at like any moment, what if I like become completely paralyzed, like during my, like when I am asleep or something? Like, I would want to be home if I was completely paralyzed, like, and like only my eyelids worked, and like then my parents could see me and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to be at school. So that was another reason, and I just thought, maybe I'll just take this time to get my health back on track. And so I just took a semester off of school. I couldn't take any online courses because it was too late to register for those. So I just didn't do anything the whole semester, except I took the opportunity actually to become a volunteer coach at my high school for outdoor track, and that was like a really rewarding experience. I got a lot of experience out of that. So basically, take home message for that is, even when things seem really shitty, you can get something positive out of it. I mean, like at 19 years old, I was coaching a team, and I was coming up with the workouts, and they all improved quite a bit. So that was a really good experience for me. So during that time though, I thought that I was getting better, because I remember like one day I just woke up and I was like, wow, I don't actually feel worse today. Like I would continue feeling worse like almost every day. And then all of a sudden I just like I was like, oh, I must be on the plateau and I should be recovering soon. And I wasn't. But I just like kept making things up. Like if I like the next day I didn't feel that great. And I thought I was on the plateau. I was like, oh well, it's just hot out today, so that's why it's affecting me. Or oh well, it's too cold, which both can happen in New York. That's New York weather for you. And so I was just making up these excuses all the time, and then like people would ask me, "Are you getting worse? Are you limping?" I was like, "No, it's just because I lifted too much yesterday." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And then after a while, it was just too much to ignore. And then I started doing my own research, and then I came across CIDP. And I was like, oh, that's what I have, not Guillain-Barré syndrome. So I emailed my neurologist, and actually he emailed me back very quickly, I think, because he was very concerned because, he thought that I'd be better by now. So then he got me in the next day, and then he said, yeah, you do have CIDP. So by this time I was like walking with a cane, and the last time he saw me, I was walking, but not that well. So I progressed or regressed really quite a bit by the time he saw me. So then it took a while, but eventually we got the insurance to cover us for IVIG, and I was gonna get it like once a month or once every couple of weeks or something, and like it seemed like it worked at first, and it was great, and then I started getting worse again, and then so I called him. I was, I feel like I was getting better, and then because we weren't doing it often enough, it just wasn't working. So then we started doing it once a week, and then so I was getting IVIG once a week, which was, looking back, that was probably too much. But I was just really desperate to get better. Like here I was, like at 19. Well, then my birthday came out, so I was 20. So now you have all the details. So I was 19, 20 years old, and I used to be a runner, and I really wanted to get back to that. I didn't want to, because I knew that if you have too much damage, like you won't fully recover. You can recover, but it won't be full. And I want to have a full recovery. I want to be back in my cross country and track team. I don't want to just be on the team. I want to make a difference on the team, like scoring wise. So that I really wanted to get back to that. So I wanted to get better as soon as possible. So we were doing it once a week, and then it took a while, but like maybe I was just imagining it before that I was getting better, and then I got worse. Maybe nothing was happening. But it took about 6 weeks, and then I was getting better every single day, and that was really exciting for me. Because I didn't like being in a wheelchair, because eventually I progressed to a wheelchair or forearm crutches depending on where I was going. If I was not going to be going like that far, I'd probably use forearm crutches. But if I was going to like go to the movies or something with my friends, then I'd use a wheelchair. But so either one of those things. And like when I was in the house, I was using the forearm crutches. So then I started getting better, and then I don't even know how, but like somehow there was a Terry Walls video was in my favorites. I don't know if I favored it. I don't remember doing that. But I saw it on my favorites. I'm like, what's this? So I watched it, and it was, if you guys don't know who Terry Walls is, she's a doctor in Iowa or Indiana, one of those states that starts with an I. She's a doctor there, and she was diagnosed with MS, and then she had is it secondary progressive MS? At first it was relapsing remitting, and then it progressed as secondary progressive MS. And so she was a doctor, so she had all this access to like medical journals and things like that. So she would just research all the time, and then eventually she like found things like like rats who were fed this supplement, who had like rat MS. They started doing better. Rats who had this supplement started doing better. Rats who had Alzheimer's with this supplement started doing better. And then she started supplementing with like different vitamins and things like that. And she started to feel a little bit better. And then she thought, hey, wait a second, why don't I just get it from my food? So then she had to do all her own research, because she tried to find help, and like no one really could find any help. They didn't know where to start. So she started doing her own research, and then she started doing like intensive nutrition. And then that's how I started. That's why I made the connection between nutrition and like autoimmune diseases. And so like for a while it was like sort of paleo, because she advises like paleo, but instead of grain free, I was gluten free, and I was planning on going grain free kind of soon thereafter. And I did see a decent improvement in CIDP. It wasn't like anything drastic, because I was still getting better from the medicine. And at this point, like when my doctor prescribed me IVIG, he also prescribed me 60 milligrams of prednisone for 6 months, and then we would start the taper. And then so back to the nutrition. I noticed that like I didn't feel like I had like a brick in my stomach when I was like digesting, after I was done digesting like a meal. So I noticed that was a big difference. Heat didn't affect me really anymore. Like getting in like a hot tub or something, or a shower. I didn't have to take like lukewarm baths anymore. So that was awesome. So yeah, and then I just never stopped doing that. Just like looking into nutrition stuff. And then I went into so at that point I decided to take the next semester off because I wasn't recovered enough. We were still trying to make sure that IVIG was working. So I took a semester at home and I just did online school, just getting rid of some gen eds through my college that I was at before. And then because I had no distractions, I got a way better grade than I was getting before, instead of like having friends distracting me from doing work. So that was another positive of being home for a semester, even though that sucked. Being home away from my friends for a whole semester, I got a way better grade, so I really upped my GPA. So, see the positives in everything. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have had a higher grade. So I took the semester at home, and then eventually, when I got good enough to go back to school, I was still using one crutch just to get to class, which was awesome. That I could just walk around with just one crutch in the beginning of class, and that was like in New York, like in like January, so there's a lot of snow. And I lived off campus like a half a mile away from school, so I had to walk like a half a mile to my classes. That was like to the closest building to my classes. So at that point, I talked to my neurologist. I got a different neurologist in Rochester where I'm at school. So then they were like, you're being overtreated, we think, so we'd like to start you on the taper at like 40 milligrams, and then also bring you down to every other week once you come back to school. So we started doing that, and I was still improving just fine after I went down to every other week and 40 milligrams. And then after that, they wanted to just do the prednisone lowering, because you don't want to change too many things at once. Then you don't know what's working and what's not. So then I started on 40 milligrams. I was still gluten free and dairy free. I'm still researching stuff, and then I don't know what happened first, if I went down to 20 milligrams first, or if I found a video about raw veganism, and I was like, whoa, that you can't do that. You can't just eat fruits and vegetables and get all your calories and enough protein from that. And then I was like, that's crazy. And then for some reason I found another video like a week later or something. And then I was like, maybe it's not so crazy. And then so I just looked into it a lot over like a mid-semester break of that spring semester. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. And then I've noticed even bigger improvements from that diet. And basically the format of that is just fruit for breakfast, fruit for lunch, and a big salad for dinner, low fat all the time. And I've really done really well on this diet. It's helped me out a lot. I felt like my recovery just improved even faster. For me, at least, I've noticed just an improvement rate, just even faster. And other than that, it hasn't really been too much of a difference in my health. I know, actually, I gained about 5 pounds on prednisone, which I think is pretty good. To only gain 5 pounds of prednisone with the gluten-free, dairy-free, like paleo-ish diet, I was pretty happy with that. And then I actually lost the 5 pounds on the raw vegan diet, and then I just sort of plateaued. I've been the same weight since then, so I just lost the weight that I gained on prednisone. So that was awesome, because it's a very low sodium diet, a very low fat diet. And I think that's about where I am now. I'm still raw vegan, and I just go to the farmer's market. I got a case of bananas, a case of oranges, a case of pomegranates, and just some other tertiary things like kale and lettuce and stuff like that. And yeah, so actually I could show you guys where I am now, physically. I was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome it was January of 2012. I started experiencing symptoms November 1st of 2011. I started getting better, or we started treatment. I think it was July. Yeah, it was like July 1st of 2012, and I didn't start to feel better until it was like midway through August or something, or maybe towards the end of August. And then I was still using forearm crutches to walk around by then, and then I dropped it down to one crutch around November of that year. I started driving again a little bit after that, and then I dropped both of the crutches probably March of 2013, and now it's why am I having trouble figuring out what day it is? It's October 12th, 2013. So I'll show you guys what I'm capable of doing now. And as you can see, I'm a real slave to my fashion. I'm wearing a purple Raisin Bran shirt and some orange running shorts. So I mean, like I can do body squats. I can go like all the way down here and then come back up, no problem. I can sort of jump a little bit, like, not really. I can run in place. I could do, I don't know if you can see me right now, but I can do push-ups. Not that well, but I can do them. So I mean, I'm still recovering. I'm still improving every day. So it's going to be a while until I'm fully recovered. I mean, my hands are like fully, I don't feel any numb, tingly sensation. I'm a little bit weaker in my upper body still. Like that was my first symptoms I noticed, was like weakness before numb and tingly sensations. So I'm not surprised that the numb, tingly sensations went away first, and then weakness is going to eventually go away. My feet and my toes are still a little bit numb and tingly. And I definitely have a lot of weakness in my lower body, especially my lower legs. That's what really affected me the most, was my lower body. So actually, I can show you guys. Like these are my feet, and I can bend these toes a lot. Actually, those are really good. And then these ones, I can bend them like that much. So I'm still waiting for those to recover. So, I mean, I can run a little bit, but it's basically just to catch the bus if I miss it. Because my college suite is not that close to campus, so I have to take the bus. So sometimes I run with a backpack on too, to catch my bus. So I've recovered quite a bit. I still have quite a bit to go. Obviously, I can't be on the cross-country or track team just yet. But, I mean, one thing I've noticed to do, just like to stay positive with CIDP, is just stay in whatever world you were in before. Like for me, that was the running world. I stayed in that world because I'm still friends with a lot of the people on the cross country track teams. We'll hang out on the weekends. When I go home, I'm still an assistant coach in my high school for indoor and outdoor track, and I go to all the meets and stuff, and I see all my friends, like from the running camp that I used to work at. I see a lot of them still coach at their respective high schools. So like I'll see them at meets and stuff. So like I'm still staying in like the same world I was in before, basically. So just try to do that. Try to keep your life the same as it was before pre-CIDP. Just don't let CIDP rule over your whole life. It's an aspect of you. Don't ever let it become who you are. It's a negative. You don't want it to be a negative aspect of your life. You want it to be a positive aspect of your life. Like, if I didn't get CIDP, my GPA wouldn't be as high as it is right now. If I didn't get CIDP, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to be a coach. If I didn't have CIDP, I wouldn't be able to help out people. If I didn't get CIDP, I wouldn't have turned my life around, like health-wise. I'd still be eating dining hall food like pizza and pasta and hamburgers and not that healthy of food. So CIDP can really be a positive aspect of your life. You just have to see it as a positive aspect. And yeah, so this is a very long video, so I really hope this helped you guys out. I hope it made up for me not being here for a while. And yeah, I'll probably have to split this video up into different parts. So alright, well, anyway, if you guys like this video, comment, let me know what you liked. If you'd like to see video, what other kind of videos you'd like to see. I have a Facebook page, if you like this video, called Battling CIDP, pretty much the same as the YouTube channel. I have also started a Skype channel, so if you guys wanted to ask me any personal questions about what I did to recover better, anything really about CIDP, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to help you out any way that I can. So yeah, contact me either through YouTube, or I'll probably sign on that Skype channel every like once a week or something like that. So you could message me on there, and my Skype name is, hold on, I was just battling CIDP. No spaces, no dots or anything. Just battling CIDP is the Skype name. So if you guys ever want to add me on there, ask me any questions or anything, I'd love to help you out. So anyway, see you guys later.